We're with Josh Holliday to talk Cowboy baseball, and let's just start off with the Tuesday victory over Wichita State, 9-5. A couple of things jumped out. I guess it reveals there's lots of different ways to get things done. You had the leadoff man on 6 of the 8 innings, and then he drew 10 walks. And so, again, there's all kinds of, there's a lot of games played, lots of different ways to get it done. But when you get the leadoff man on and you're drawing walks, it just really sets the table, doesn't it?
Well, we definitely had a lot of opportunities, and I think when you look at that game, Braden Smith was the catalyst to kind of get us going. I like the way Matt Brown took the opportunity to start the game. I was pleased with what he did. I thought Mario out of the bullpen was big when they had that bases loaded situation to come out and limit them to just 1 run. I thought that was a huge part in the game. And then, on offense, Brugge's triple, bases loaded triple was a huge swing of the bat. We did have a lot of base runners, whether it was the walk. You mentioned a lot of leadoff hitters on. The thing we did well is we found a way to win. The thing we want to keep getting better at is capitalizing on a lot of those opportunities where there was a lot more to be had. I mean, multiple times we had runners at third base and no outs or 1 out and didn't get them home. Or the old proverbial red zone offense where you get a runner to second and nobody out and you're unable to move him. So when you get those guys in those spots, you got to score touchdowns, right?
Yeah, right.
Got to get the guy home. And but at least we started to create more of those opportunities. We had more guys in position to score. So the next step is creating opportunities and then finishing them. I think a lot of that has to do with just being calm when the opportunity to hit with runners in scoring position presents itself. I think we have a bad case of trying too hard going on right now. And that's the desire of the kids to try to win. But you can't do that. You just have to stay with the process and the at-bat that you have and let the result be a secondary piece of the equation. The first piece is getting good pitches, being on time to hit them. And then the result will be a runner will score. But when your focus is just trying to get the runner home and you deviate away from your plan, you may be trotting back to the dugout saying, I didn't get the job done. So a lot of traffic on the bases. A lot of guys got to the mound. A little bit of a different defensive alignment, but a good team win for us, something we desperately needed.
Yeah, and how much of that is, you're talking about the offense, you're feeling out the lineup structure because of the injuries, like you've moved Colin Ritchie now to batting cleanup. So you're trying to figure out, okay, what's the best way to make this work? Does that, as you go through that process, does that add to some of that as guys you're trying to get a feel for what works, they're trying to get a feel for, okay, what do I need to do? Because it's evolving because of the injuries. You're trying to get that solved to put the best lineup out there that you can.
Some of the things that we learned in the first 10 or 12 games was if we could get maybe a guy or two in between Schubert and Brugge, and maybe a guy or two that might be able to take advantage of a lot of the breaking pitches those guys were seeing. Maybe we could run in front of those guys a little bit. Colin Ritchie runs well enough that, if he's on base and Brugge's getting a steady dose of breaking balls down, that we could get Colin start. So trying to, break up a little bit of that big man dynamic in the middle of the order with some foot speed to try to give us more ways to create offense. But also, trying to get the right guys in the right spots that complement both right and left-hand pitching. And also not putting ourselves in a spot where, the opposing team could go to the bullpen and with one switch have a matchup advantage that they could use for the better part of 4, 5, 6 batters. So I like the potential of what the lineup can be. To your point, guys adjusting, finding themselves in new spots, having to get comfortable hitting with runners in scoring position, all things that are important to being successful. So definitely when injuries occur or things change with the team dynamic, it does thrust people into new spots and creates different responsibilities for them.
You mentioned Braden Smith earlier and the performance he had against Wichita State, and he now has a 9-game hitting streak. He's hit almost 500 in that run, 4 home runs, 11 RBIs. He is a junior college transfer, obviously. So what have you liked about his approach and his evolution as this season's gone along? He's on a good run.
Yeah, there's a lot to like about him. First, it starts with him as a person. He's an incredible kid. He has a tremendous love for baseball. He's very thankful and simple in that he's consistent, he's steady, he's a great teammate. He always does the right thing. There's just a lot about him that is really high level as a human. And I think that translates into the way he plays. He plays for his team. He plays to win. He plays competitively. He's a consistent player. He has a great motor for baseball, and that you'll never see him look flat-footed or lethargic. He's always bouncing around. He has a smile on his face. So he has a lot of great qualities as a person. Those qualities show up in him as a player. And really, as of the last couple of weeks that you mentioned, extreme spike in his confidence. He's putting the ball in play a lot more. He's really driving the ball well. He's just had a real, I would say when you look at most of the really good athletes that transition from junior college to Division I, probably pick any sport you'd like. There's a little bit of a transition period for them to just adjust to what they're seeing. And then ultimately, once that adjustment is made, they take off. And I think those first 10 or 12 games, he was adjusting and getting used to this level. And now that he's found his footing, he's playing great.
April and May are usually really good for you and your teams. Historically, that's been the case. That's why you look at the last 5 years of college baseball, you have the second highest RPI average in the country. There's a reason for that. And you do so much in April and May. What have you learned about when maybe you don't get off to that super hot start?
Yeah.
What have you learned going through that helps you navigate so that April and May become so good?
Well, it's a great question. Appreciate you bringing that up. I think every team encounters a challenging stretch during a season. I don't care how good you are or maybe how elite you even are. There's a point where your plan of attack or your competitive edge gets challenged. Your confidence takes a punch, and your plan has to be reset. We took ours early, and we've been as a team and as a staff battling back really ever since. So I think what you learn in the early part of the season is where your vulnerabilities are and where you need to improve. If you do go through some injuries or things don't go just to plan, to try to adjust quick enough that you have a chance to then see the adjustments take place. And I think for us, Dave, one of the things I'm most hopeful about is to get to a point where a consistent schedule will help us find a consistent rhythm as a team. The first month was a very much a choppy schedule, weather related. Obviously, the fires changed that dynamic of the first conference weekend. So we've just seen some interesting circumstances we've had to adjust to. And I think as we've fought through these things, this group just has yet to pick up any momentum. I hope that April and May, I hope there's some momentum in there for us. And to your point, why have we improved over the course of time? It's a compliment to the players and coaches for just continuing to work at it. So we'll need to stay true to that formula. I think things we've learned early is trying to find our best defensive alignment with some of the injuries that we've gone through. So we've adjusted. Hope to get Avery back at some point. Don't think we will get Aiden back. His injury seems to be a season-ending one, and we'll miss his leadership and his offense and his presence on the field as much as anyone. So adjusting to those things, that'll be important. And ultimately, I think settling into the right roles on the mound, which has been something we're working our way through. But the seasons are hard. I've seen parity in college baseball this year in the middle, and it looks to me like there's been some separation at the top. When you look across the country, you got some teams that are 25-2 and 26-3, and there's some rosters and some loaded teams, and then there's a bunch of us that are still trying to put our best baseball together. So we're going to keep fighting hard. We're going to keep working hard. We're going to keep pushing until we get this thing right.
Well, and the next opportunity is at Kansas. A team has put up some really big offensive numbers, one of the top teams in the country, I think 5th in the nation in home runs. And so, kind of a unique ballpark, unique setting, and it's always a challenge up there.
Yeah, no doubt. They're doing a great job. Their staff does a really good job I'm good friends with their head coach. I have a lot of respect for him, and I think he knows what he's doing. He's pumped some really good new life into their program since he's taken over, which compliment to him. And they got a good collection of players, no doubt. Should be a great series, as all the Big 12 series always are. And another road series. I feel like we've played certainly our fair share of games on the road already. So hopefully all that early season work on the road has prepared us and put us in position to go to Lawrence and play high-level baseball. That's what it'll take.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Cowboys and Kansas Jayhawks in Lawrence. Thanks for watching.